Beautiful, thank you. And June is Pride Month, so we allow this acronym to be our affirmation. So if you would say it with me, pride is presence rising and inspiring the divine in everyone. And we acknowledge that for all beings. There are numerous things that we believe in unity. We begin with our unity principles. Let's speak them together. There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in our lives. God the good, omnipotence. Our essence is of God. Therefore, we are inherently good. This God essence was fully expressed in Jesus Christ. We are co-creators with God, actively creating our world through thoughts held in mind. And through prayer and meditation, we align our heart-mind with God-mind. And finally, it's not enough to know these truths. We must live them, loving service to our world. And Unity of Augusta has a vision. Let's speak it together. Centered in love, we are a spirit-filled community, touching lives and illuminating the world. And we are on a mission to awaken and celebrate the Christ consciousness in all beings. And there are things that we hold most dear. Unity of Augusta is accepting, affirming, committed, kind, practical, and welcoming. And each Sunday we participate in the spiritual practice and the spiritual law of circulation with our tithes and our offerings. So if you're visiting from home, you can visit our website for a number of ways to share your abundance if you find Unity of Augusta, your spiritual home today. So we joyfully, always with joy and immense gratitude, we take our offerings in our hands and we speak the offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive. I am grateful. So it is. And we remember that not only is God our source, but God is the abundance that we experience in our relationships, in how we spend our days, in our good health, and in all the wonderful experiences that we have in life. They are of the divine, and we enjoy them with great gratitude. Today we share the daily word, and the word is prosperity. I focus on the goodness of God and know prosperity. Sometimes I may worry, wondering if I will have enough of what I need. If thoughts of lack or limitation arise, I lift my thoughts from the things of the world to the truth of God. I focus my mind on the richness of divine life within me. I feel calm and assured as I remember I live in an abundant universe, and I am heir to everything that God is. Even when my worldly fortunes shift, I am abundant in spirit. As I align my thinking with divine mind in prayer, I become receptive to divine ideas that prosper me. I claim prosperity and feel empowered as I do. My prosperity stems from my oneness with God. I count my blessings. I feel grateful, and I trust with understanding faith that I have enough. Psalm 36:8 says, "They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights." The affirmation again is, "I focus on the goodness of God and know prosperity." Will you speak that with me? I focus on the goodness of God and know prosperity. So I don't know about you, but I've had some fun breaking these 10 commandments. Have you? Yes, yes. We've spent a lifetime trying to keep them. Now we get to break them, and break them on purpose and with intention, and understand them in a new and different way, a way that hopefully gives you a new look, a new way of living them into life. So today, we move into the ninth commandment. And all of these commandments have caused us to look at our relationship with the divine, our relationship with God. How deep can it be? How deep we are willing to step into that presence. And then the other commandments invite us to look deeply into how we are with each other as humanity. And so this ninth commandment in Exodus 20:16 is, "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor." I had fun with this one. So when we look at this commandment at first glance, we think, as Eric Butterworth points out, that it means don't tell lies about people, right? Simple enough. Don't tell lies about people. Don't share excessive criticism. And oh my, don't gossip. Just think of how many words we would save if we did not gossip. And just to be clear, all of humanity is our neighbor. Not just the people who live beside us, but all of humanity. Now, this is one way that this do not bear false witness kind of sneaks up on you. All of a sudden, you're having this judgmental thought about a person. Or is that just me? Oh, I hear you laugh. It happened yesterday. Ironically, as I'm preparing for this very commandment, I walk some trails at parks nearby, and I'm walking a trail yesterday. It was early in the morning to beat the heat, and coming my way are two lovely ladies. And as we passed, I say, "Good morning, enjoy your walk." To which they replied, "Nothing. Not a word, not a peep, nothing." I didn't say anything else. We all just kept walking. But I started thinking, oh my goodness gracious, well, how can you walk by a person and not acknowledge the humanity of another person walking by you? How is it possible for people to do that? I acknowledged them. I saw oh my goodness gracious. You shall not bear false witness. I was judging all over the place. It happens that easily. We just go down that slippery slope. I was bearing false witness. Now, they are probably very lovely ladies, just quietly enjoying a Saturday morning walk. I may have interrupted a very quiet, contemplative moment for them. But I chose a different story of how could you possibly not honor humanity? Yes, it happens. It happens to all of us. Before you know it, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. And indeed, they were my neighbors. It's powerful to consider this commandment in current times with social media, Facebook, Twitter, and all of those other ways that people stay in touch, and how we use our words on those platforms that don't reveal our identity, or we speak them to what seems to be strangers who are truly our neighbors. How much of what we see and read on these social media platforms are untrue? How much of it is pure gossip? And how much of it do we really listen to and create opinions because of? We are accountable for the words we speak. They are formed from the thoughts we hold. And our very unity principles tell us that we create our experiences by the thoughts that we hold in community with one another. Thank goodness not all of our thoughts nor all of our words come into existence, but they are creative, and our thoughts and our words impact the vibrational frequency of the space around us and the people who occupy that space. So here I was on my morning walk, and instead of seizing the opportunity to pour out love, which I did at first, but boy, I switched pretty quickly, didn't I? So how were these two beings walking along their merry way? How were they impacted by the thoughts that I held and the vibration of those thoughts? For me, this means that when I speak of people who break my last nerve, I know it doesn't happen for y'all, right? Yeah. When I speak of people who challenge me, and let's face it, those people who come to challenge us are our best and brightest teachers. They're calling us into a way of expressing our truth, our divine nature. And we can do that sometimes. And when I gossip, oh my. And when I speak judgmentally about people who are judging others, do you ever do that? Find yourself criticizing people who are being judgmental? Oh my, is that not a vicious cycle? Our words are our bond with one another. It's our connections. And if we can't count on those around us, those people who are in our immediate circle, our family, our friends, our neighbors, to have integrity with our words, then those ties that bind us as a society, as a humanity, are compromised, sometimes dangerously compromised. And when we consider this commandment as a sacred tenet of our judicial system, when somebody is on trial for an offense, don't we take an oath in the court of law? All parties to take an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Of course, that's the truth as we see it, which has its own little slant, its own perspective, its own view. But it's pretty clear that false witness is a lie, not the truth. That's how we called stories that weren't true. We called them stories that weren't true in my house. We didn't say, oh, you're lying. Oh, you're telling a story that's not true. It sounded softer. It sounded more gentle. Yeah. But it is what it is. And today's judicial system, someone who is a witness has no other responsibility but to tell the truth as they know it to be. And then their responsibility ends. However, in the days of Moses, it was a very different experience. Bearing false witness had a greater responsibility. When a sentence was pronounced against an accused person, the witness was the one who carried out that sentence against the accused. If the accused was sentenced to be stoned to death, the accusers were the ones who cast the stones. And if a witness was found to have lied, bearing false witness, they would receive the punishment that would have gone to the accused. So there was great incentive not to bear false witness, not to falsely accuse. I wonder what that would look like as our judicial system today. Yeah, I hear your laughter. Yes. And there's another aspect about this idea of a witness. Eric Butterworth points out that we often say that truth is the facts, that seeing is believing. But there's a twist on that. Believing is seeing. Sit with that. Hear me out. What we see is very strongly influenced by our subconscious mind. What we see is influenced by that subconscious mind. And we often don't know what's rolling around in that subconscious mind of ours until it comes to the surface. So if we're feeling paranoid about something, perhaps we walk into a room and all the conversation ceases. What do you feel? A little self-conscious? A lot paranoid? Pretty certain that you were the topic of the conversation, right? Seems natural. But is that really true? Maybe, maybe not. If we hear giggles and whispers, how many times do we assume that the giggles and whispers are about us? They may be, maybe not. And if we have a mindset that we believe that someone lacks integrity, if that's the thoughts that we're holding towards a person, we're going to see all the evidence that we need to support that opinion. We're going to see behaviors, actions. We're going to hear words that support that this person doesn't have integrity. We literally see it into being. And when we hold the mindset that a person or a group of people are just, honest, and honorable, then we will see evidence to support that opinion. We will see it. We have no power to change another person and their behaviors, but we have great power to change our thoughts, what we hold as truth about another. That's what we can change. We have great power to change the judgments that we hold against a person, any group of people, any individual. We have great power to change that. And we have power to change our actions towards others. We can't change another person, but we have infinite power to change ourselves. Of course, that means we have to know what we're thinking. We have to recognize it as truth or not, and we have to be willing to shift our perspective. We have to be willing to change our opinions. And we have sometimes said to one another, "Oh, I see the light in you." And what do they say back? "Well, you see the light in me because that's what you are reflecting. You're reflecting back to yourself what is in you." We serve as mirrors for one another. And I believe that to be true. That when I look at you and I see your light, I'm recognizing my light as well. When I look at you and I see your love, I'm recognizing that love in me as well. So what if I look at someone and I see something that's not of light or love? For me to be in integrity with spiritual law, to be in integrity with myself, I have to say the same thing. If I see anger, if I see resentment in another, they are reflecting what is in me. I get to work with that. If I don't like what I'm seeing, I get to shift it and change it. I get to heal those parts that need to be healed. I get to forgive what needs to be forgiven so that that darkness of anger and resentment can shift to light and love. I don't just skip over it. I do the work that needs to be done. That's living our wholeness. For me, that's calling up that divine power of love. Love that sees the goodness until goodness is made manifest. And Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore says that love is the inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. You do that? You see good everywhere and in everybody? Sometimes yes, sometimes not. But we have that ability because we are love. We are made in the image of love. Love is the inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody, and it insists that all is good. And by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality of love to appear. Can you imagine looking at someone who pushes your buttons, breaks your nerves, and looking at them until you see love, until you see their love, until you call that up into them, through them, and out of them, till you can see it. That's the power of love. It's calling it into being. And we do that often with one another. We call one another up to be their highest and the best as we acknowledge that divine in everyone. It causes me to hold them in the light and remembering and reminding them that they are made in that image and likeness of God, God, which is love. I hold them in the light of being God, pressed forth into existence as the beautiful being that they are. That they are the light shining in this world. That they are the life and the breath of God expressing. And that they are a unique expression of God in existence. Expressing like no one else in existence can or does. All beings are my neighbor. So I suspend judgment and I refuse to bear false witness of anything that is other than the divine. I speak only words of goodness about all beings. And when I remember who I am, then I can remember who my neighbors are, the truth about them. And we choose this sage advice. Speak only when I can improve on the silence. Resist the urge to judge, critique, criticize, and gossip. And before we speak, we can pass our words through the acronym of THINK. And we have the postcards on the table on the back. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And when our words pass that threshold, then we can speak them. And we can commit to affirming the divinity of ourself and the Christ presence in all beings. That same presence, that same consciousness of the Christ that was in Jesus is in all beings. And when we live this ninth commandment, you shall not bear false witness, we are invited. We are enticed to see our own divine consciousness, our own Christ nature, to see the divine in each other and all beings, and to call ourselves and each other to live their truth. So what do we see when we see the divine? What do you see when you recognize that divine in you? What do you see when you look in the mirror and say, you are of the Christ? So the question remains, how will we bear witness of truth of others? How will we bear witness of truth for ourselves and not bear false witness against anyone? So breaking these 10 commandments has been an awful lot of fun for me, taking them apart and exploring them, digging deeper into them, creating a new meaning out of them, one that calls us into being greater expressions, ones that call us to have a deeper relationship with our God. And always, always remember to let all you do be done with love. Namaste.